What's up, everybody? I'm back, man. Check this out. Before we move on, remember to hit that like and subscribe button, hit the hype button, and remember, this is a fitness channel with a twist, people. Today's twist is going to be a part 2 to Mr. Dubs. I'm going to give you where I stand with Dubs, because I know a lot of people question my relationship with that individual. So I will elaborate on this, and hopefully it gets to the mashicas, the naive mashicas that are out here on social media trying to live a life that they could never live. It is what it is. But like I said, man, this is a fitness channel with a twist. And you guys got to keep in mind, this cat right here shoots from the hips. I don't edit anything. I don't script anything. I just say what's on my mind. You know, I'm not like these professional content creators out here that will jot a bunch of stuff down, notes and stuff like that, and run off of that, or do reaction videos using their computer and all that stuff. This is me right here, baby. Backyard boogie. I'm old school. You know what I mean? Some people question why I work out in my lugs. When you're in the joint, you work out with whatever you have. So I carry that same, how should I say, the same way I worked out in the joint is the same way I work out here in the streets. There's no space for excuses not to get your feria, in other words. Well, anyways, people, with that being said, let's go back to the basics, man, and talk about weight loss, okay? No matter what diet you decide to take on to go through your weight loss journey, always incorporate nutrient-dense foods, okay? There's numerous ways that weight loss is achieved, okay? I'm going to give you some examples here. Weight loss is achieved by many different ways, okay, people? A very good way is by doing keto with intermittent fasting. When you do this, it's going to speed up the process. That's actually, I firmly believe, the quickest way to drop some weight, okay? Whether it's sustainable or not, it's entirely up to you at the end of the day. The best diet is the one that you're going to stick to. That's what I always tell everybody, okay? So intermittent fasting is good with keto. When you fast, your body will recycle unused proteins and turn them into new amino acids. This process is one of the key ways that the ketogenic diet works to help you lose weight, people. Now, if you choose to take on a ketogenic diet, I would recommend eating high quality ingredients. I'd recommend using grass-fed, organic meats, and vegetables whenever possible, okay? This is where you're going to get the maximum results and the best results, people. You cannot half-step anything. You get what you pay for. The more you invest in yourself, the better the look you're going to get, okay? And I'm going to give you the reason why it's important to do this. These foods are more nutrient dense, and they will help you feel full and satisfied while you're on your diet. And this goes for any diet. I would also encourage this type of way for any diet that you take, any diet that you want to take on, okay? Always eat nutrient-dense foods. It will help you, it will prevent you from being hungry in between meals. That's where most people tend to fail at on their diets, people. they like to do a little snacking, whether it be healthy snacks or bad snacks. Snacking is grazing. It's consuming and indulging more than what your body requires. And what your body doesn't utilize, guess what? It gets broken down and stored as fat. Okay? That's for you people that are out there wondering, wow, man, why haven't I lost any weight? Because I've been eating healthy. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. You're eating incorrectly. It's a numbers game when it comes to this. And like I said, at the end of the day, the quickest way to lose weight would be a ketogenic diet with intermittent fasting. Okay. Now, with that being said, people, hit that like and subscribe button. Put your notification bell and all. 10,000 subscribers, I will start doing lives. If you want to get started on your fitness journey, you already know what time it is with that as well. Hit me up, highpowerfitness@yahoo.com, or shoot me a DM, highpowerfitness, high_power_fitness_. Now, with that being said, it's a beautiful day out today. Today's Saturday. I'm going to be hopping on a Zoom meeting with my team members, some of my team members. And we're going to bring stuff to the table, whatever they're struggling with. And we'll address certain situations. You know, if you want to be part of that, you know what time it is. So anyways, people, with that being said, man, let's get straight to the twist. Mr. Dubs, okay? And the reason why I need to elaborate on this, because people want to know my standings and how I feel about Mr. Dubs, okay? I'm going to take it back to day one, okay? So we're going to be bouncing around all over the place. So just bear with me, people. When Dubs first came about my feed, I tapped in with him. He used to drop a video maybe once every 2 weeks, sometimes once a month. He caught my attention because when he was speaking, it's something that I could relate to. No, I was never a lifer, but I've done time with a lot of lifers. So I seen that it's a certain stilo to them that they carry, you know. And at the end of the day, this individual started off a certain way until paperwork surfaced. He was one of the most, well, I can't say that, you know what I mean? But he was very well tapped in with this YouTube world, and people were tapping in with him, and they were always giving him his flowers, this and that. And then once that paperwork surfaced, he got a lot of hatred. But his support group is still very strong. No matter how you bash this individual, he's not going nowhere, okay? So that's here nor there, okay? People like to try to come at me in a certain way because I'll tune into Dub's channel. Now, you got to keep in mind, the content that I choose to tune into is content that is educational. When it comes to the prison stories, I don't tune into that. And the reason is, it's because I've lived that life. He's not going to tell me anything that I don't already know. He might explain something the way he went through it, but at the end of the day, every man does their time differently. And like I said, the first joint I landed on, it was filled with a bunch of lifers. You know what I mean? So I got laced up by some righteous homies. And I went to war against the homies from up north. And just to shed some light on this as well, once I've already did, it was strictly business. Okay? Because where I come from, you could look out your door and look for miles and there's not going to be a norteño around. The people we're gangbanging against are other Southsiders. The people from up north that carry that Southside title, you're banging against other Northsiders. You just have a different cause behind it. And I respect that. It is what it is. So for those of you Mexicas out there trying to play this part like you're in that battle, you really aren't. I mean, you're living a fictitious world right here on social media, because I hate to bust a bubble, but what's going on behind them walls is the end of hostility. Ain't nothing popping off in there, straight up. So that's why I say that red and blue that goes on up north, it's like it's gangbanging to me. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if you guys have different barrios there or not. You know, it is what it is. Well, anyways, I'm not going to get on that. I rambled off a little bit. This is about dubs here and what my standings are and how I feel about dubs. I notice out there on this the YouTube yarda, let's just address it as that. Dubs has certain individuals that they have so much hatred towards them. You could see it in their videos. And at times I question myself, like, why do they have so much hatred towards this individual? Because where I come from, how can you hate somebody that you don't know? Okay. Here's just a reminder to you motherfucking Mashikas, Cholos, and Funny Bunnies. No, I don't side with anybody that went out backwards or paroled from them yards. I just can't. But again, I live out here in the real world. So them rules behind there do not apply to me. Does that mean I'm going to go bust bread and break bread with them? Absolutely not. If I'm not doing it with my own homeboys that paroled from them yards, why would I do it with the total stranger? So you got it fucked up. You fucking people that are uneducated when it comes to this stuff, you guys should really pump your brakes, because right here on social media isn't the place to really find out about this stuff. You know what I mean? There's a couple individuals that had started this thing, and that it spread like an epidemic. It is what it is. And the war is real with the homies up north and the homies that carry the Southside title up there. I don't even like using that title, upstate Southsiders. They've actually used another title too that I frown upon, and that I frown upon a lot of homies that down here use that freely. They don't know the meaning behind it. But anyways, there's a difference, man, when you're active in the barrio and a person that is like with the business. Okay, there's two definitions to that, with the business. The homies that are out here in this free world that are with the business are with the function. Okay, the ones that are righteously with the business, with that cause, are now out here gangbanging. They're with that actual business, with that cause. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then you don't need to know, because it isn't for everybody's ear. You feel me? So back to why certain individuals have so much hate towards dubs. The only thing, I try to justify why they do, but I'm not here to go against their feelings, because every man has their right to feel how they want to feel towards individuals. But sometimes it just fucking, it boggles my mind. Like, why does this individual hate this individual? Okay, I understand he had paperwork that was dropped on him. I've never seen the paperwork physically, and I don't think many people out here has. And I'm not one to go look into it. Okay, I'm aware of the paperwork, and it's obvious. You know, CDC is a motherfucker. You got to go through certain things to, if you want to be a free man. You know what I mean? They're not going to give you something for nothing. That's just the way it is. Anybody knows that done time, they know the way CDC works. So the paperwork gets surfaced, and there's individuals that have a lot of fucking hate towards dubs. It is what it is. That's their prerogative. I'm not going to agree with their beliefs, but I will respect their beliefs towards him. The only thing I could think of is either dubs and the individuals that hold that hate actually know each other personally, and whatever dubs did to them affected their life, or they may have somebody that they hold close to their heart, dear, close. They may have a relative or a camarada that they hold dearly to their heart, and that person was affected by whatever dubs did. Okay, I could see the animosity there, the hate towards the individual. But here, to be here on social media to express that wouldn't really be the place to do that. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, only dubs and the ones that he affected around him knows what type of target he has. I know a lot of people say that he's over here and he doesn't come out his doors. You know, hey, nowadays ain't nobody coming out their motherfucking house. I'm just keeping it real, man. Have you seen the size of individuals? They DoorDash everything. Straight fucking lazy. You don't even see them on bicycles no more. They got electric scooters. It's crazy. People are just getting lazier and lazier by the day. You know, and no, I'm not making excuses for Dubs. Dubs is a grown-ass man. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, back to my feeling towards Dubs, I don't have no hatred toward Dubs. I'm gonna tune into his channels when they pop up, and if it has an interesting title, I'm gonna tune in. If it's about prison, I don't tune in. But if it has something to do with current events, because let's keep it real here. No matter the charges that this guy, no matter the paperwork that surfaced on Dubs, you cannot strip that individual of his intelligence. He is very educated when it comes to that. He is very educated and up on game what goes on behind them walls, because he lived decades there behind them walls. As far as what he gives out here to the public, I don't need to know the stuff. Why? Because I'm familiar with the stuff. I've lived behind them walls. I was on the installment plan, you know. Individuals get mad because I may tune in to his thing. Keep in mind, I don't tune into none of their after hours stuff. That doesn't pertain to my life. I've once lived that life, and I know the way people behave when they start drinking. It's happened to me myself. You act a fool, straight up. So I don't want to be no participant in that activity whatsoever. If I'm awake, I'll send my saludos and respetos to the ones that deserve that fucking saludos and respetos in the audience, or whoever that deserves it. Let it be, you know, because I happen to notice certain individuals too, the ones that try to bash me, but they're on every one of their lives. And here's another thing. These individuals got so much hatred towards this individual, towards Dubs, but yet they'll speak on an individual, Mr. Arte. It goes, I think he has his channel was something, you know, he is Past the Wire or something like that. That dude's straight works for the feds. He's in hiding. Now that's an individual with the target on his back, you know. And this is to bring me to this. Look, I do ramble on a lot, people. Hope this video doesn't have to go on any much longer, but you know, it is what it is. Because I want to clear up things to the fucking dumbasses out here on social media, especially you you fucking Mashika warriors, your fun and bunnies and you trollos that really don't know what's up. You know, that individual is a known, he's known, he puts phone taps on there. And the reason is because he had one of my homeboys on one of his videos. And I'm not going to say no names. I'm sure everybody is well aware of this individual, and it is what it is. And so be it. But yet, nobody presents that hatred towards that guy. That guy gave up so much game that put a high-priced target on his back. You catch that individual out here, now that trophy will follow you from out here in the free world to be behind them walls. As far as Dubs, I really don't think Dubs is a hot commodity the way he is, because he wouldn't really be exposing where he's at. You know, whether it be true or not, I don't know, and I don't care. Back to the point at hand here. Do I hate Dubs? No, I don't. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because whatever that paperwork that landed on him, it doesn't affect my life. It didn't affect anybody personally in my life. Okay? It didn't affect any of my homeboys. Okay? Now, if we were to land in a situation where we're both in the system and we cross paths, you know what time it is. Dubs knows what time it is. It's strictly business. It wouldn't be personal. So as far as me having any hatred towards that man, no, I don't. I'm impressed with his education and how the way he breaks down political views out here. Because I'm not one that is into politics and all that stuff, but he breaks it down into a layman's terms where I could understand things, you know. I always have gotten, I've just recently gotten papers asking me, hey, you want to register to vote? And you know my belief on that is fuck that. You stripped me of my right all them years. Why would I want to vote now? I'm cool. Because I'm going to tell you the reason why I think of this. Because by me giving them that right and letting them know that I want to vote, I have to forfeit too much information about myself and where I reside at. You know, I'm not doing that. To me, I always believe there's an ulterior motive behind anything and everything that goes on in life. Like I said, man, I've seen Dubs from day one, and I would always tune into all of his stuff. There was always that flag that was raised on the back of my head, because it was a known fact for individuals that come from doing time, from the time that I've done time. It was pretty much forbidden to be out here on social media, and especially for a lifer. And I always question that too, like, how did he get out? Because the only way I remember lifers getting out was in a pine box. That's the only way, unless they really ended up beating their case, because I did see a couple lifers where they DNA came to light, and it proved them that they weren't that individual that was at the scene of the crime. I was actually at a yard where the first person I ever seen that happen was a brother. I forget his name, but it came out. It made headlines and everything. Like I said, man, I know this still ain't gonna get to the fucking Mexicas in the individual that once wanted to sign up to my program. Hey, I respect your beliefs and your opinion, my boy, but don't try to speak on how I feel, because I live that life, G. You know what I mean? Out here in the free world is a whole different get down. I live for my family. I live to help change people's lives. I'm not out here to play that fucking bullshit games that went on behind them walls. And to me, I look at it as bullshit games. Why? Because I didn't benefit nothing of it, you know? And I say that with the most respect too, because those people that are never seen the day of light again, that is their life, you know? But it's a constant change in superiority when you're in there, and everybody runs their yards different. You know, eventually everybody gets shifted around, and, you know, that's when you get doubt with individuals that want to start doing dirty politics. And that's how a lot of them individuals ended up on the other side. And the individuals that ended up on the other side doesn't mean that they're pieces of shits. You know what I mean? You are to certain people, they are. You know what I mean? But they were done dirty, and you got to keep in mind, them individuals, they still with the business in their own world. I'm sure they're not over there floating around with them people with bad charges, because it's obvious those SNY yards, they're more active than the general population. Why? Because there's no structure over there. It is what it is, but I'm not going to get into that. At the end of the day, man, I gave you my feelings about Mr. Dubs and how I feel about him. Do I hate him? No, I don't. Do I refrain from watching his stuff? Certain things. I don't participate in the late night boogie because I'm asleep. And even if I were awake, I wouldn't do that. Why? Because that party life, it doesn't excite me one bit. That party life had gotten me wrapped up and sent away many times. You know, so I won't engage in that. If it's a topic that pops up and I happen to be familiar with the title and I'm interested on what he has to say, I'll tap in. Like when he did that video about Spider. Like I said, I know Spider personally. I didn't tap into that video for what? And when I dropped my video about Spider, I tapped in with Spider to let him know that I'm going to give him his flowers, because I already knew he was going to get a lot of heat for dropping that video, and he did. You know, another individual had tapped in with me too, the one that sent me the video, and I already told him, I go, oh boy, going to get a lot of heat behind this by doing this. And the individual that was fucking interviewing Spider-Man, yes, I rambled on, didn't I? I'm all over the place. That fool reminds me of just a fucking another 21 Jump Street dude. What is it? Adam 22 or whatever the fuck is it? That fool got so many, has so many different titles. And you know what's a trip too, man? I've seen some of these fucking mashikas on that dude's fucking channel. But you guys are okay with that, right? It's crazy. But me, I just tune in because if there's something educational, I'll tune in. And there's very, very few, and I'm weeding out the ones that I just cannot accept them because, and these are some older cats too, you know what I mean? The way they speak, because their beliefs and their morals are different than mine, and I've seen the way they change up, and I read between the lines, man. So, like I said, I've went from having a list about this big to about a list about this big now. I only tune into a couple more people, you know, just a few more people. I probably watch my shit more than I do anything else, and the reason I do that is because, like I said, I shoot from the hips. And sometimes I'll go back and say, fuck, man, I should have addressed this because now I'm going to get heat with these fucking dumb motherfuckers over here. But at the end of the day, I really don't give a fuck, man. State your opinion. Believe what you want. I've told you guys the way I feel about Mr. Dubs. And I address everybody as Mr. That's just respect. That's the way I grew up. So, oh, you're on his nuts. No, motherfucker. It looks like you may be on his nuts because you tend to tune into everything that he drops. It's a trip. You know what I'm saying? Well, anyways, people, much love and respect to all the righteous ones that are supporting me and supporting that good cause in the betterment of our people. You know, we may have our differences, and when there is a difference, man, anybody out here on social media that disagrees with what I have to say, you guys have my email. I would rather chop it up with you like a man and iron things out than to go back and forth, because I won't do that. I'll entertain it to a certain extent, but really, it's just for the birds. Well, anyways, people, with that being said, man, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, put your notification bell on all. Let's get it to 10,000 subscribers. If you want to get started in your fitness journey, hit me up. It's High Power Fitness, high_power_fitness_, or you could shoot me an email at highpowerfitness@yahoo.com. There it is, people. You have it. I told you how I feel about Dubs. Yes, if we were to cross paths in the system, he would have something coming for me. Out here in the real world, he's just another person just trying to live a life out here. What he did to whoever he did, that's between them. It never affected my life. You know, and the people that have that hatred towards them, hey, I respect your hatred towards them. It is what it is, you know. Only you know why you have so much hate towards that individual. I still trying to understand how a person can hate so much that they don't know. Anyways, let's do this.